Hey there, Lorehounds. This is Mortarith, and I'm here with TJ Dunbar, the game creator of Castle Assault. TJ, how are you doing today?
Great. I am having a great PAX.
That's great. So this game looks pretty interesting. It's a set up two-player game, as I can see, but there's grids on the board. What does your game change about regular card games?
So Castle Assault is a battle card game for 1 to 2 players. The grid that you see is actually the board, and so as cards move across the game board, it kind of tells you how many spaces they're moving. So there's that spatial element that's created with the light grid. So it's very tower defense, so you can actually see that cards will automatically populate across the board. However, you can also do in-game actions like charging and using tricks and strategies for the cards in your hand to increase the randomness and unpredictability that your opponent expects of those cards.
I see some dice on the board. That's a bit different than regular card games. How do they come into play?
Dice adds a little bit of randomness with the charge, so it makes it, again, not as predictable, which is good for you sometimes, and then sometimes it's good for your opponent. And also, dice will help swing the momentum. So momentum is a mechanic that alters cards in the game. When it's in your favor, things are going good. But when it's in your opponent's favor, well, not so good.
Not so good at all. So say I'm on this side of the board and I want to reach someone over there and I roll a 1 and I come short. That's not so good for me?
Nope, not so good.
Well, that's too bad. That's too bad. Now, if you could explain this momentum a bit more, how does that incorporate into the game?
Sure. So some cards have specific, so different war bands take advantage of the momentum differently. Some cards have text written on them. When the momentum is maxed, they'll get additional attack, additional movement. Also, you have some sneaky command cards in your hand. So if momentum's maxed, you can play those on your units or even on your opposing players' units to, slow them down a little bit.
Cool, cool, cool. Now, when I'm playing a card game, I really don't like it when I can't do things, like you're trying to draw stuff to be able to play. How do you incorporate so that you're pretty much almost always going to be able to have your resources to do something?
So when it's your turn, there's a couple free options you can do. You can alter momentum, and you can also draw cards with your resources. You can also do things in any order on your own turn. So if you want to attack first, draw cards from those glorious victories that you just smashed your opponent, or if you want to play defensively and keep yourself kind of turtled a little bit, that's a play too. The only problem is with Castle Assault, assaulting's usually better.
Interesting, interesting. Now, I was talking to earlier, and there's actually a single-player version of this game, which is quite intriguing. How does that work out?
Now, single player has its own warband deck. So you actually have cards that have their text or the artificial intelligence written right on there. So if you're playing solo, they'll be coming at you with what they've got to do. Now, it's not always smash a castle in single player mode. Sometimes you have to survive 7 turns. Sometimes you got to wipe the board in 11, or sometimes there's even a massive monster that you got to take down. And so with 71 health, it takes a little while. So
very interesting.
Now the neat thing about single player too is as you're playing through the campaign, you're actually, like, if you destroy a particularly nasty monster, you grab a piece of that monster and it's a card, and you can now play with that to progress through the campaign. So you're like stealing monsters' abilities, you're like, your heroes are getting better, they're leveling up as they go through it, and when you level up, you can bring that, your cards, you can improve a single card, or you can do like light global effects, like all your cards now get a little beastier. One other thing that's cool about single player is you can bring, once you earn all those, once you earn that respect, you can bring that to the 2-player. And so you can play against your opponent's hero as well, but they may have tuned something totally different. They may have really made their ranged guys ridiculously ranged, or they may have erased their weakness. So
very interesting. And now, how long would a typical game normally last for people to play?
30 minutes.
30 minutes, quick, simple, and
we're powering through these.
Lots of trash talk, I hope.
Can't stop.
Wonderful. Well, that's it, Lorehounds. This is Castle Assault, a great fun game. Give it a try.